Welcome, everyone, to John and Dylan Online. My name is Dylan Gott.
I'm online.
There you go. That's John Hastings. And this is a very special episode because this is the episode where we draw a line in the sand and we say we're no longer researching anything. We're just going to be talking about things.
Yeah, we're just going to be creeps to each other and not bother with any pretense. If you don't like that, good. And if you do like it, that's bad. We're not here to get listeners. We're here to ruin your fucking week. Fuck you.
We are now officially a 2010 podcast where it's just two guys chopping it up, talking ish.
I don't want to be rude, Dylan, but that is not a 2010 podcast. A 2010 podcast is someone in an American Apparel hoodie, which is a weird tone like a violet or a teal,
Okay.
talking about stand-up comedy like it's inside the actor's studio, but everyone hosts it, works at a skateboard shop. What we're now doing is a 2020
yeah, talking about it with
podcast.
the seriousness of like a political scandal.
Oh, my God. Tell me, Pete Holmes, when did you write the hoofs bit?
I will say this: it's when you would even, because I think I had a podcast around then. No, I didn't. But even if it was a logistical fucking nightmare, you thought you had to have guests. Like you were like, oh, we have to have guests.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah. The Nerdist has guests. We got to be like the Nerdist.
Oh yeah, the Nerdist.
Yeah, people, this is the craziest thing, guys. Everyone is walking around. I don't know what it's like in America, but everyone's walking around being like, what are we going to do? Comedy. I'm like, comedy changes every fucking 10 years, guys. We just don't realize it. I literally had to say to people like, do you remember the Nerdist? And they were like, the what? And I was like, yeah. Man, like that was the shit. I remember I came to LA and I did the Meltdown open mic. And it was an open mic in the back of a comic book shop, and there were three people there that told me like their dream was to get bucket pulled from the open mic at the Meltdown. And I was like, man, Americans, you guys will just fucking believe in a dream, won't you?
Their dream was to get pulled from the bucket at the Meltdown.
Dude, like Americans
Oh
are
yeah,
the best.
Nerdist Meltdown. Yeah, I guess that was the old Kill Tony, where it's like, man,
It
I
is
hope
the old
I get
Kill
to
Tony.
perform for. I guess I would rather perform for like, oh man, am I gonna get to bomb in front of like, I don't know, fucking that? Who is that lady who used to write history books? Sarah something. Anyway,
What?
yeah, she was on Conan all the time.
No idea.
She was on. Anyway, you bomb in front of her. It's either like, I guess Nerdist was your bomb in front of someone who's like really self-satisfied about who they are, or if you on Kill Tony, you may get to bomb in front of a guy who could be our fascist overlord.
As someone who literally came into LA comedy during the transitioning period between the Nerdist Meltdown and Kill Tony, you've 100% nailed the conundrum. And as someone who's lived it, give me bombing in front of Susan Sontag and a guy who thinks he's Niles Crane over bombing over a bunch of guys with like that weird neck beard where the thickest part of their beard is the hair under their chin right here. Those guys where you're just like, even you could be the greatest comedian of all time and those guys will still be like, why didn't he talk about how it's cool to own a woman?
I will say this. Here's something. As a middle-aged man, here's something that I really enjoy is that children and kids nowadays, with the mullet, with the fucking cut-off shirts like the 80s, I'm like, I do really believe in looking like a complete asshole when you're a kid. Like, you should look back
Yes.
at old pictures of yourself and be like, I look like a fucking idiot. If you always, like, wore a golf shirt and jeans, it's like you're not using what being
This
a
isn't
kid is
the time
You're
for
supposed
that.
to have phases.
Yeah. Do you know who's the king? You know who the king is? The overweight guy wearing a fedora and a cape. That man's an alpha. That man's going to have a small business that does mediumly well.
Yeah, you know how you see someone who's older and they still like wear, I don't know, maybe they wear like a salmon shirt and they're 56.
I'm
That
right
guy's
here,
wearing-
Dylan.
Everyone else wearing earth tones. This guy's wearing a salmon shirt. That started out as he had a nose ring and a tattoo that said no jizz on his throat or something that he got removed. And then now that tattoo says extra jizz.
First of all, your entire scene is corrupted by your hubris. The only time you would get a neck tattoo that says no jizz is right now. Oh, I guarantee, by the way, whatever follows Post Malone in music will have a tattoo that says come go here and then an X through it on his mouth.
Post Malone also, like, his dad was the pitching coach for the Texas Rangers, and I just can't imagine, like, Also, I
We're
didn't
in.
know that Paul Giamatti's dad was the
Oh,
commissioner
you didn't
of
know that?
Major League Baseball who banned Pete
Oh,
Rose.
oh yeah. You didn't
There's my
get to.
son doing a prestige role while Pete
There's
Rose just fucking eats a shit sandwich in Vegas.
There is one of the greatest pieces of footage ever, which is someone trying to explain to Paul Giamatti a little fact about baseball, and Paul Giamatti like is being very kind and finally has to go like, "My dad used to work for Major League Baseball," and they were like, "What did he do?" And he was like, "He was the league. He's like Bert Giamatti. What the fuck are you doing?" Like, yeah, it's very funny. Also, Paul Giamatti, I guarantee this, fat dick. Paul Giamatti has a big fat penis, and no one is that confident looking like a turtle. That guy's podcast is fucking great, and it shouldn't be. It's very badly produced, and all of the stories just sort of end with like, and then we went home. Like it's just, and yet so confident. Speaking of earth tones, that man is an earth tone dad with a big dick. It swings. No one has confidence like that. Also, to find out that his dad was a jock and he's like that. That was a man whose dad woke him up every morning. "You're a disappointment." Paul looked back at him, spat in his face, and went, "You don't even know. I'm pig vomit, bitch."
Is he the oldest in an Italian family? Because that's a level of confidence you can't touch. If he's the oldest boy in an Italian family, he could literally just not go to school and be like, "I got this, dog." Like
I think he might be the only boy in an Italian
that's
family.
that's more power than Zeus himself.
Yeah, that's technically child abuse with how much energy and power he was given in that moment. Like he
You
was
understand
born and
how,
his dad
no matter
moved
how
out.
ugly a man you are in a Mediterranean family, literally other Mediterranean families will walk by and just offer their daughters to you.
Yeah.
Her yet? And like, well, I don't have a job. I've never had a job, and I never want to get a job. She'll work out and come back.
I went to high school with a lot of Lebanese guys, and one of their dads
Oh
was
yeah,
so
here we go. Mark
was
this flip.
so obsessed. Market was so obsessed with his sons getting girlfriends, who would yell at them as they were going into school. "Bring back a woman!"
That is good.
Yeah, it's a real thing that we don't remember, which was a time when, if you were 14, one of your friends' dads would be like, "New crops coming in, hey?"
yeah.
Oh, I was just in my hometown for a full week. So many creepy things were discovered. First of all, 4 different people I went to high school with are engaged in and or being tried for medical fraud.
That can only happen in the capital city of a country.
Correct. The amount of like shithead white collar crime that's been going down, oh, it's really good.
I mean, our friend showed up to a charity softball, my wife, in a fedora. And dress shoes.
Yeah, of course.
No, it was boat
I mean-
shoes. He was playing third in boat shoes with a fedora on, and then got defensive when people were making fun of him. I was like, no, they're right. I understand that like you're used to being performing for people, and then you holding a microphone, and then they paid $20 to see you, so they're right. But they're right now. You're being bullied again, and you just got to eat that. You shouldn't have dressed like a fucking bassist for Maroon 5 at a softball game in the suburbs.
When will your wife stop trusting comedians? Dylan's wife loves thinking that comedians are regular people that should be trusted with your time and your energy. And every time she gets fucking burnt, and I'm just like, how have you not learned this lesson? You married the most responsible of us all. And that's an indictment of both Dylan and all of us. And she's always like, you know what? You know who could really help us out framing this house? Some comedians. And then I know what you say. You go, actually, no, that's a bad idea, because what'll happen is none of them will show up. They will show up at weird times and stress out our family schedule because we live in a regimented life because we have children. You will be weirdly stressed out that we like trying to do this fun thing for these people, and they'll show up wet and confused, and one of them will just be wearing a tuxedo, and then I'll have to find other people to do this job. So let's just get those other people involved now and save me a lot of time. No, your friends will be fine. My friends I have many groups of friends, and all of them have a guy in it that has been turned down for more cocaine. So never trusting any of them. And Dylan's in
Sorry,
all of
I
those
just like the fact
groups.
that you said I have many friends. I don't know.
I have many friend groups, and they all have
This is like
narcotics
a podcast where
problems.
with 6-year-olds. I have a
Yeah.
bunch of friends. I have more
I
friends
got
than
4
you.
friends, and some of them have jobs and penises and vaginas.
Here's the problem: is that I'm Spider-Man. You're not Spider-Man.
Excuse me, here's the problem. I'm Galactus, and I didn't really pay attention to the cartoon I was watching, but that name sounds cool, and that's me.
Here's my idea for a movie. It's Freaky Friday, but with 2 6-year-olds. Freaky Friday with Tom Segura and Burt Kreischer, and then they have a
No
podcast
difference.
about they're really pissed off about timeouts and tag, and they're like, Burt and Tom got it back.
You're so
Timeouts
correct.
and tag or hog shit. Burt
I'm gonna say
is
this.
back.
I'm going to say this right now. I have not are you aware of the amount of different documentaries that are being produced on a daily basis about how Tom
Our
and Bert
YouTube
aren't
channel-
as funny?
Our
Pardon
YouTube
me?
channel, which now functions as a burner account for when I want to watch those documentaries. Yeah, I mean, there's 900,000 documentaries about everything. It's crazy. And this is the other thing is like when people put a lot of money, and I think it is worth it.
And
Like that
time.
is something that I have come like even if you don't get the numbers, it is totally worth it to put money into producing something that you think is good. But the fact that like my friends and I will put thousands of dollars into producing a stand-up comedy thing that they've worked on for 5 years, worked on these jokes, put it onto YouTube and get 100,000 views, and then like someone will put out a thing that's like Burt Kreischer had a sandwich too soon before recording, and I could tell he was totally trying not to burp, and it's 10 minutes long, and it's like 500,000 views, and then the comments are like, "You have done it again."
First of all, I'm the one commenting that. First of all, I'll have you know I'm comment number 1 on all of those. Those are all my burner accounts. Second of all, I want to watch that documentary very badly. Here's also why is the documentarians' insights are always kind of off or wrong because they're just fans, and I love it. Also, sometimes I think they nail it so fucking hard.
Sometimes they do nail it. That is the thing about like this happened in sports, this happens in comedy, this happens in everything, where it's like sometimes a super dork will misread it, and sometimes they don't. Where it's like,
well, I do know this. According to the grapevine, a couple of those YouTubers are like, there's dartboard photographs of them in famous comedians' tour buses. Like, they got me again, and like they're very upset about it in a way where I was like, no way.
Well, it's like a cottage industry of trying to ruin these people's careers. Like, if you're Burt Kreischer, like him or don't, the guy has worked for 20 years to try and build up to the point where he could play stadiums, and now he's finally doing it. And then a 19-year-old who's like, this guy's kind of cringe, comes on and just tries to fuck it all up. Where it's like, yeah, man, he's, I don't know, he's 50 and you're 20. You're not supposed to like him.
Dylan, I'm going to come to your house, and I'm giving each of your children $5. That's how much I agree with that point.
So
$5
$10 total dollars.
Yeah, and American
also,
money.
you were saying
none
about
of this
friends.
paltry.
Here's the thing about reliable friends: is the first kid is the great culling. I remember I was playing Far Cry. I think it was Far Cry 5.
I remember
And then there's
this.
like a noise that says "cull the herd," and then that's what I would ever hear in my heads when like my friends would make up weird excuses to not see the kid. I'm like, "Cull the herd, cull the herd." And it's like, yeah, you're just not, I'll just talk to you on the phone, which I'm fine with. You're a phone friend now, which I'm totally fine with. But if I never see you in person in my life, then that's what that is. That's what I don't know.
I was pretty sure I wasn't making the list of Dylan's still my friend after having a kid, but then I realized no, I'm fine. I'm not a psychopath. And
this essentially is a phone call.
This is essentially a phone call, but we
this
live
is a phone
in two
call
different
with
countries.
a couple people on mute.
Yeah,
this is what this is.
This is a phone call with a couple of people on mute. But yeah, I've met one of your children, and I assume the other one will wander into my life at some point. But here's the thing:
other one, big guy, he's doing great. His name's Ozzy. I mean,
that's good. That's good. Spelled the traditional
yeah,
way.
Jesus Christ,
B
a man can't do much better than having 2 kids that are, I'm calling it, gonna organize fucking keggers.
Yeah, it's fucking great. In East Toronto, buddy. Oh my God.
I just hope that my
your
children can live up to your father's youngest, where he posts his body fat percentage and his bench on his social media bio. If I saw my child do that, a single tear would come into my eye, and I would just like book a vacation for one to up north in Canada and look into a lake and say, "We did it, Dad. I made a
My
man."
dad walks around with a level of confidence. It is
One of my sons
he
is
is
6'4", the other one benches 300 pounds. You're gonna want to do this deal. That's what your dad does.
Do you understand that in this moment of time, my father has the perfect sons? Yeah, one of them's fighting for free speech as a stand-up comedian, and the other one's fighting for freedom in the military. Do you want these loafers?
And then they look at your act, and you're like, "I had a sandwich, whereupon too much
Yeah, exactly.
mayonnaise."
Why is your first alleged comedian using the word absolutely?
But anyway, yeah, having 2 kids is very easy. Anyone can do it. I advise everyone just kidnap a kid for a couple days. Say, "I was trying it out." The cops allow that as an excuse.
Have any of the friends that you culled to being phone friends noticed that they are just not physically with you ever? I assume no.
No,
Not
they're
one.
all
Yeah, there we go.
narcissists.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I love. No one tells you about this about getting older, which is post 35, every dude you know, they've given up. They don't even know that they've given up. This is now who they really are, and who you get to see them lean into themselves for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, man.
And if you enjoy
I'm looking
enjoy
forward
that,
to being to my 40s
oh,
in a way that like I wish I could like live in a time loop from the years I'm going to live from 40 to 49, because it's just going to be like that is like
I can't wait.
we were talking. I
cannot
don't know if
wait.
we were talking about this on the Patreon version or but that is the my kids are 8 and 10. I've got a bit more time to myself. I get to have a hobby again. That's the divorce zone, and that'll be like watching that. That's going to be good.
All right. So I don't think you're never getting divorced because you're too much of a stoic Canadian man that just is looking for a hill. I'm just looking to stand on a hill.
Yeah, I'm married to the wilderness. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm married to the wind. But I will tell you, your neighborhood is going to go up divorce-wise. Like I know some people that grew up in your neighborhood, and they are a level of fucking crazy that is
It's
like
crazy. Dude, the best part is there's an 80-something, which is so funny. Greek people don't age like regular people.
certainly not.
So like an 80-year-old Greek woman is essentially a 50-year-old white woman. So she's fucking like in your fucking face. And there's a guy who, and I've never run into this archetype, which is he's off-leash dog guy, but without the control. Usually off-leash dog guy, they could look at their dog, and then their dog is like, "Understand, leader, I will make you a grilled cheese." But this is off-leash dog guy who's like, lets him run around in Toronto like it's a fucking he has land up north. So it's like just running around, and then the Greek lady said, "Put a leash on your girlfriend," and calls the dogs his girlfriend. And then we were watching, my wife and I were just watching this woman stand over him, telling him he's, I'm assuming, a piece of shit for 20 minutes while he was just he was trying to, which is, this is a very, when the overgrow happens, when the grass comes out of your driveway, he was trying to like pick all that out, and she was just standing over him going like, I assume going like, "You're a fucking loser."
I've encountered one guy like that, the no control dog leash guy. It was in Finsbury Park in London. The dog took a big shit in the path. I told the guy to pick up the shit, and he went, "You do it. You fucking do it." And I told him to go fuck himself, and he said, "What are you gonna fucking do?" And I went, "I'm gonna tell you to go fuck yourself." And he went, "All right, fuck you. What are you gonna fucking
Just gave his
do?"
dog a bunch of chocolate.
And best part ever, who comes across the hill? Two bobbies patrolling the park. And I just went, that guy didn't pick up his dog's shit. And he just went, "You told on me?" And the officers just went, "Sir, we're going to need to speak to you about this." And it was, I then did a lap of the park, and I came back about 25 minutes later, and they were still stood there arguing, and it was so fucking satisfying. I remember at one point, he just went, "You don't know, it's my dogs." Oh, it was really good.
Was this Ozzy Osbourne?
It was not. It was a very out of shape, overweight man who was, I remember he was smoking a factory cigarette, but he had a Rolly cigarette accoutrement, which leads me to believe he had two types of cigarettes on him.
Oh, buddy.
Rollies and straights.
I have exciting news. I smoked a joint the other day. There was batch in it. One
With
step
what?
closer to being back.
With
One step closer to our
little
goal of
tobacco?
starting to smoke cigarettes again at 50.
I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. I had some tobacco in a joint in February, and I hated it. And I literally, I almost called you. I was like, oh no, it's over. Oh no.
I haven't had an experience like that. Like, I want to open up a thing where it's like mindfulness and relaxation, and then the first thing is like, now you will smoke the sacred herb, and then I do a bunch of stuff. But it's just you're an ex-smoker, and I just gave you a cigarette, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna relax. I need to go back there, and I'm like, I don't know, it's pretty good. Now you will smoke of the sacred herb.
A bunch of people that I
Next is what I call it. Next, regular next.
Oh yes.
Which is, by the way, my favorite thing in Canada was the names they would give cheap cigarettes.
cigarettes?
Like expensive cigarettes, Du Maurier, Belmont. Next. One was called Smoking.
The best one, Canadian Classics.
Ooh,
and then also
Canadian Classic sounds good, though.
a Canadian Classic, and then the better, because you couldn't say Canada in Quebec, the Quebec Classics.
Quebec Classic, so it was just a guy fucking yelling at a woman.
That's right. Oh man, those are the only cigarettes I miss. I would love a pack of Canadian Classic right now.
Yeah, I'm getting you back there. You're gonna join my mindfulness retreat where we just smoke cigarettes.
Can we make that a mindfulness retreat where we just go in the woods
I think
and
there should
gun
be a mindfulness
cigarettes?
retreat where it's like, listen, it's mindfulness, so people are going to view this as therapy. Here's a pack of darts. You call whoever you're with a fucking loser, men and women. You just call them a loser, and it starts out in the classic thing where it's like it starts out making sense, and by the end you're just clearly talking. It's like you just like weird shit that you would never say to anyone, and I'm still on your side, and it costs, I don't know, $50.
Nah, man, cigarettes are expensive. $100. $100 for you to come stand. Here's where the retreat has to take place.
I have to supply the cigarettes because of the the guise of okay. So yeah, it's $100.
So it's $200 because let's be honest now. Once you get some of those people going, they're not stopping. It's $200.
Check it out.
And
You're a girl. Complain to me about a guy. Watch this.
No, I don't like how Robert uses the toilet.
He's probably gay.
Yeah.
90s
All right, now, Dylan,
mindfulness is what I'll call it.
The retreat needs to take place in a real good smoker's location. Here are the couple of options you have. Motel room that you're allowed to smoke in near a highway. That's one. That's number one.
Smoking at the back of a hotel room where it's not in the parking lot. But
the back with, and it's always that push bar door you have to go. This might set off the fire alarm.
Give it to me. Let me have it.
So that's your first retreat location. Number two, the weird gate where they store the Zamboni at a kids' hockey arena where all the dads stand around and smoke in a semicircle. You buy the dumpster, of course. Buy the dumpster. Yeah. That's where I want my mindfulness retreat to take place. A full weekend, stood near the utility exit of a Canadian hockey arena, just with some dads with long hair at 45 and 95. Oh fuck yeah. Just the kind of Canadians that they're not racist, but they have some real views about some specific ethnicities. Goddamn Macedonians moved into my neighborhood. If I wanted rice mixed with meat for every meal, I'd move to fucking Lebanon.
Yeah, that's a Toronto thing where you know a lot about the culture just so you can hate them more.
Oh, and it's always the Toronto ones are the best one. These fucking Portuguese people. I don't need cake with every meal.
I don't mean mainland. I'm talking Azorian.
Of course,
like,
yeah. I'm talking about pig fuckers, not the land-loving lamb fuckers of the rest of Portugal.
Here's another thing I've been able to watch while being a new father because you're asleep all day. You're not getting much sleep. Is Chet Hanks is the only thing I'm ingesting anymore. The best Hanks
Tell me about it.
of the Hanks family. Here's what I like about him.
Disagree.
He's on this Real Life. He was on season 4 of Atlanta as a person from Trinidad. Just Donald Glover was like, "Do your accent, man," and it's so bad, but no one cares. He's on my favorite episode of Z-Way, where like he just fucking.
I don't even know what Z-Way is. What is
Z-Way? Z-Way is a really good show. It's by this great comedian named Z-Way. She interviews people, and it's one of those like the Eric Andre show. You can only do it once. Because she just like basically paints everyone into a corner and makes them look like a piece of shit, and she tries to do that with Chet Hanks, but he's like too dumb and charming, and the staff start laughing, and just like diffuses the whole thing, and he just doesn't give a shit because it's like the other thing about Chet Hanks is like, oh, it's good that people like me and that I can like be an influencer, but mostly I'm just Tom Hanks's kid and I'll be rich forever. So suck my ass.
Yeah, that's I got to tell you.
So you get to kind of like live vicariously through someone who just they try and like cancel him and he just doesn't give a shit.
This is the thing that people need to realize about cancel culture, but about so many things is you have to somewhat like lean in and agree. If you can just spend the first year just being like, I'm not though, it all just goes away. That's the crazy thing is it all just like Chet Hanks, people were like, this guy's a monster. And it's like, he's just a rich guy's kid. I don't understand people that have not spent any time with rich guys' kids. It's the same thing with Hunter Biden, where everyone's like, what the fuck? I'm like, this is a rich guy's kid. You've never met it. Like, the best weed I've ever smoked was purchased from two different former cabinet ministers' kids. And let me say this now, they have not recovered.
Well, this is the thing about like Hunter Biden is like, yeah, he's just an addict, which is bad.
Cool.
But also
Which is
he's
cool.
too rich to ever be homeless. So he's
Which is
just
also cool.
get to be an addict forever.
Yeah, you just get like where's his rock bottom? Oh, he has enough money that it's the rock bottom. He'll never get to it because of all the money that's stopping his fall.
Yeah. Chet Hanks is
Also-
real life Van Wilder. If Van Wilder was in real life, it would just be a guy who says some stuff that comes off as racist and dumb, but he's too stupid and charming for it to really affect him. Like, I didn't know this. The whole like him doing the Jamaican accent, him doing the patois at the award show that really went viral and got everyone to like really launched him and got him to be in the consciousness of like silly celebrities. It was like he always said it was a deep appreciation for Jamaican culture and reggae. No, it wasn't. He was just having sex with a Jamaican woman and heard her talk on the phone and then tried to do that on television on an award show with his father and mother, where she's like, oh, it'll be nice, we'll bring Chet. And he's like, I just finished fucking somebody, and I'm pretty sure I can speak their language now. Like, do you know how great... Can you imagine? Before we're gonna
This
show
is
it,
the
like,
best thing I've ever
I
heard
just
in my life.
finished banging this Russian girl. I think I'm just gonna say some fucking Russian things. Oh, that was great.
I love this.
He's the best.
don't ever want to talk to you about anything ever again.
He was a personal trainer, and this
What are
comedian
you
Malik,
talking about? He was a. Go ahead, keep talking. He was a
comedian
personal
Malik
trainer.
hired him to be his personal trainer, and it was like pretty reasonable. So Malik had a
How
roommate
much-
at the time, and then it was like, dude, it was more reasonable than it needed to be. It was like $100.
How much? I live in the same town as Chet Hanks. Can I hire Chet Hanks to be my personal trainer?
I think you
He
should.
probably doesn't do it anymore.
He'd probably tell you to quit being gay about your shoulder. That'd be the first thing. No, but it doesn't work. That's gay.
Yeah.
Just be like that. And then you'd be like, I don't really comfortable with that. He'd be like, oh, quit being soft. And you'd be like,
First of all, I'm from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. I would think that, but my body would kill me before I would be able to say it. Like, I'd be like, I actually
who
don't.
You can say something like that to, and it'll hit home. And then who?
Exactly. I was like, well,
wasting
why don't
your
I could waste my time. That's this is the thing. I've gotten into some fights with some various ex-girlfriends about like, I can't believe your friend said that. And I'm like, listen, I could call him on that, but what you don't understand is that's the I better calm shit down because there's a woman here. Like, for me to attack him on that, he'll be so confused because he'll be like, but that's what I thought you think.
Yeah, I wonder. Well, I mean, us as two forehead blessed men, which is what I call balding now. People
I'm
with
not
big,
balding. This
busty
is a
foreheads.
choice.
Oh,
this
actually,
is a choice.
Someone who's trying to blend in with baldos like you, John.
Yeah, I'm trying to make people think that I'm less of an alpha, so I'm allowing myself to go bald. I
Check this,
chose this.
and I'd love to reach out to women
Whoa.
and have them tell us this. But what do you think is the female equivalent of having a friend who's kind of misogynist and kind of racist for a man, where you're like, yeah, I don't know, he's my friend. I'm still gonna be friends with him. He says some weird shit sometimes.
They're friends with that one girl who really takes it up a notch at any social function. Like, you know what I mean? Like a wet, hot bar star mess. Real fun at 23. Really annoying at 33. I just blew the waiter. This is an Olive Garden, and we're at a baby's funeral.
Oh, so you think it's like sex stuff?
not just sex stuff, but like just like chaos craziness. Like it's just sort of like, oh yeah, we're having a nice dinner. Bridget's going to be 2 hours late, and she's going to show up covered in what we hope is rainwater.
The kind of girl who's like, oh, I just need to fully unpack my breakup. And you're like, wow, that sounds bad. And she's like, oh, it was 8 months ago.
Yeah, 100%.
They're just talking about their last breakup until they're with their new boyfriend, and then they're gone, and then there's been a breakup, and now we need to deconstruct.
All of those people that I've been sat in your kitchen and your wife has just uncorked on, those people in her life, that's exactly who I'm talking about. Those people are the same equivalent to the people in our life who say things like, I'm just asking questions, and they're asking questions about the Harvey Weinstein case.
I love I'm just asking questions like they're a lawyer. Their questions are, is rape fine?
I will never in my life recover from hearing a friend of ours during the BLM thing go, what you don't understand, John, is I'm like a journalist. And
that's really good.
I have never respected the person in the same way. Like that is in my head for everything that they do and say moving forward, just being like, understand what this person thought a Facebook post during a riot was. Just understand that where they position themselves in the world, that was their reaction to that. Just know that.
I don't know. I don't really judge anyone on what they did during COVID, except for me. What I
judge
did was
some
perfect.
people on what they did during COVID. As someone who went through a divorce during COVID, some people are judging me for what they did in COVID.
Hey, buddy, everybody judges
them.
everybody, or they don't, and we're just judgy, which is probably the real answer.
Here, let me tell you this. Let me tell you who I weirdly have the most respect for coming out of COVID. My one buddy who said it was fake from day one. Never locked down from the jump. We're talking March 2020.
Yeah, sorry.
This is bullshit. This is for control. That guy I respect all day because that guy had no friends for 2 years. That guy, no one was on that guy's side. And also, fun fact about that guy, still got the vaccine. That's the best part. Vaccinated. Yeah, he's like, yeah, they're trying to protect us from something. I'm getting it. And then I couldn't believe it. It was... could have fucking knocked me over with you're fully vaccinated? Boosters and everything. I thought you said COVID's not real. It's not real. Then what's the vaccine? Come on, they're not going to kill us all. That's a leader of men.
My cousin works, he worked at a pool company, and now he's back doing construction because, so anyway, he's on a construction site, and he's like, yeah, it pays better, but there's one guy who's like into select all every conspiracy theory, and one of the conspiracy theories is history's not real. And And my cousin, who's like the most composed, nice, gentle man, just went, so yesterday isn't real. What the fuck are you talking about? He's like, honestly, so yesterday's not real? Yesterday didn't happen. He's like, what? I don't mean it like that. I'm like, but yesterday is history. So yesterday didn't happen? And he's just like about to snap. It was good.
I really love your cousin.
Him off or whatever.
He sucked him off. That's really nice.
Yeah, that was part of the retreat.
Retreat to my dick.
There you go. Retreat to my dick. Yeah, that's a good retreat.
Do you have anyone in your life that you wish was into conspiracy theories? Like, I want for 1 year my dad to go real deep. I think that would be really fun. I would really enjoy it because I'm like, yeah, what? He's not going to go as far as some of my friends have, so I don't give a shit. Go nuts. I just think it would be really fun.
Anybody who is in conspiracy theories and still gets out.
Yeah.
You're conspiracy theories. You're not at a message board, keyboard, fucking on your phone. No, you're fucking at softball. You're fucking playing men's league hockey. You're like, hey, good pass. Did you know history's not real? That's who I respect. Those are the fun guys where it's like, think about this. Who would you rather hang out with? Someone who's like 5 times vaccinated, telling you about global warming, or conspiracy theory guy? Who is more likely to have you up till 3 a.m. having a story you're going to tell people?
It is the unvaccinated guy, but I've lived too long a life with those guys. That's exactly what I was about to say. It's like much like the vaccine they refused to take, you need it in small doses. Spread over a significant period of time.
Yeah, that's not a guy you're calling for advice, but it is a guy who you're like, you know what? I don't really know what I'm doing. Let's go to an after hours in our 40s.
Let me tell you who's a real asset when you're going through a divorce, by the way. Talking about, phone friends. Those guys are the best phone friends in a divorce because you are so filled with confusion about certain, like, how to that they have a level of confidence and a level of it's clearly the other person's fault that's so useful in those situations. No, I think that they actually share some responsibility in that. I was just talking about making a pesto panini. Yeah. Why aren't they paying for it? And you're like, all right, yep, this is the energy I was looking for.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that is something you need. Like, you need a toxic friend who's just going to be like, no matter what you clearly did wrong, she was a bitch. I ran over her mom because I was trying to speed home while cheating on her. Mom should have been in the driveway. What's she doing trying to help you out doing your
I
gardening?
do agree with you. I also think it's funny when people try and debate certain, for lack of a better term, toxic people, when it's like, no, you don't understand. They don't actually care. What they're into is you being angry right now. And
Yeah, they're winning. They're a supervillain. You're
yeah,
giving them
your
what they need.
goals are different. You believe in something. They believe in this. Like that's I was home in my hometown of Ottawa, and a friend of mine has gotten a few friends of mine on both sides have gotten really into keyboard warriorship. And I was explaining to a friend of mine, I was actually explaining to 3 friends of mine who are very progressive, who were like, we want to start getting involved. We want to start like making sure that these people are taken down. And I was like, anytime you do anything to take down any of these people, you're giving them more power and more publicity. Just create an alternative to what they're creating, but do not engage them in any way, because what you want and what they want is totally different. And it's basically everything that they can do neutralizes everything you do, and also they know how to do it in a manner that is like shocking and engaging, and you do it in a way that makes it seem like the piano teacher is making us now practice our scales.
Yeah, don't step into their arena and fight on their what do you call it? Platform?
Yeah, like I got it really into, speaking of online YouTube documentaries, the Sam Hyde Tim Heidecker feud.
All right, well, I'll check that one out afterwards.
Oh, do you know who Sam Hyde is? You know who Sam Hyde is.
I've watched some stuff on him, and yes.
Sam Hyde is just basically the most alpha of like those comedians that used to hang out at the Crown and Tiger in 2010 and talk about how Yuck Yucks doesn't give us any respect. You know those guys?
Yeah.
He's like the alpha of one of those guys. He is like the most of those guys. Does like the most intense, crazy, out there shit, like very much appeals to the neo-Nazis that operate on the internet, that sort of stuff. He did a show called $1 Million Extreme World Peace with his sketch troupe that was like the biggest hit Adult Swim had that year, but it was the year of alt-right. Some of their fan base were alt-right, and they engaged with them in that way of like they were making fun of everyone. They were doing very extreme, very dark comedy. Adult Swim didn't pick it up, more than likely because Tim Heidecker behind the scenes, because here's the thing with Tim and Eric from Awesome Job. Tim is a giant Hollywood producer. He is the money and the brains behind so much of that alt comedy stuff, and like all of those things, as he portrays himself to be like, I'm a hipster cool guy who's actually a very dark, effective businessman, and this is just stuff that sells. That's why I do this. And then he may or may not have appealed Adult Swim to get that show taken off. And Sam Hyde and Tim Heidecker have engaged in a aggressive and intense troll feud ever since. And Sam Hyde called in to Tim Heidecker's show once, and you heard Tim, the best you can, deal with one of those guys, which is he just calmly kept repeating what he did and didn't do to the most truthful way. And then the other guy just went like, no, but what about this? And he's like, well, no, I didn't do that. I just did this. No, but. And it's the only way you can kind of confront, but in the end you can't. You just got to be like, all right, that's what you believe. See you later.
Yeah. It's frustrating, but whatever. John, anything you want to say before we talk about whatever next week?
It's good to be back. I have taken one big shit today. For the last 31 minutes, I've been watching the clock as another shit has prepared itself inside my body. Now, these shits, Dylan, it's been like I've been pooping an egg that disintegrates as it comes out of my asshole. It's been an amazing feeling. Feels all jammed up top, and then I release, and then it's like, what?
Ooh, another one is ready to present.
Yeah, that's right. I'm ready to hatch.
He's crowning everybody. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll have
Dylan.
our Patreon episode where we just listen to the Hulk Hogan Republican National Convention speech. And next week, we're going to talk about some other topics. You guys, if you're on our Patreon, comment on this episode what you'd like us to talk about. Absolutely anything, and we will talk about it. Thank you guys so
Dylan.
much.
Before you go, Dylan,
Yeah.
just ask you this question in the moment. Have you ever noticed one of your sons shitting while you're holding it, and then you go and take a shit? So it's like stereo shitting.
No. Usually it's
Good.
like, oh no, I have to clean this immediately.
Yeah. And then you realize your son has to go to the bathroom?
Yeah, there you go. That's good. That's good. That's the end of the episode. Oh, I wonder if the laughing will come. Oh, good. All right, now we're going to exit on cheering. Thank you guys so much. Goodbye.
Fuck you.
Can you hear that? Hi, guys.